Okay, hello everyone who are tuning in with this video. We were not able to go live on Instagram today, and we were a bit sad, of course, because we saw some of you jumping on, and we couldn't get Sophie to be like a co host in the live room. So we ended up being here. Then we said we wanted to go on Facebook. That didn't seem possible either. So we're here in Zoom, just the two of us, and we will share this video later. And as Sophie said, the main thing is also on Monday, so you will have time. But today I wanted just to introduce you all to Sophie and also hear about Sophie's own journey. So I can just say a few words about myself just before we jump into it. For people who don't know me yet, I'm Matilda Lerchi. I'm a healer and energy intuitive coach. You can also call me a spiritual guide. And I work with children, and I work using healing modalities. And as a healer, I can sense the child. I also have a program where I teach parents and professionals how to work with children. And I've felt so many things in the children that I'm able to feel and my students are able to feel, but that parents might not necessarily see or experience clearly themselves, so they can say, oh, this is actually how it is. So it was not until I met the human design modality that I realized that there is actually a modality showing it much clearer to the parents, where they can really get insight to this themselves. And then I met Sophie, and she's amazing, and she is working with parents already, and she's also on her own journey as a human design coach and as a mother. So today we're going to dive into that mostly. So if you can present yourself, Sophie, we would love to hear more about you.
Of course. First thing I should say is I have several cats. You may hear one in the background because I've shut the door so they don't bother me so much. But as cats will always do, they will meow at a closed door because they must come in. So in case you hear that in the background, that is not my child, it's one of my many cats. So my name's Sophie. I'm originally from the UK. I live in Thailand now, where having 6 cats is a perfectly normal thing. I know many people with many more. I have an almost 2-year-old son. I can't believe he's almost 2. Time just, as everybody says, time just absolutely flies. And I've been in my own human design experiment I'd say since around 2014. Like, I first came into awareness of human design in 2011 when I was going through my Saturn return, which is kind of when I was around 29 years old. So this is the kind of astrological event that sort of thrusts you into adulthood. It's when like a lot of things can kind of shift and change in your life. And that's when I found human design quite sort of appropriately. I really was I hated my human design, honestly, like when I first heard about it, because my chart is quite intense, and the delivery I had of my human design was at a time when I was feeling very, very lost in my life. And it was not at all, it was the truth, but it was not what I wanted to hear. It was very uncomfortable for me. And so I put it in a box, literally. It was on a CD recording. I put it in a box and I didn't touch it until a couple of years later, when I had an accident where I almost died. And then not long after that, the CD recording fell back into my lap. So it's not that I didn't resonate with my human design when I first had it, but it was just challenging for me to accept it because I had a lot of conditioning. So as well as being a human design specialist, I'm also a hypnotherapist and coach, and also energy healer. Why I have now come to work with parents is, in my therapy work, in my healing work, I really came to realize that almost all of our, should I say, present day issues as adults stem from our childhood. Even when I had clients presenting to me and they said, oh no, this has just been going on the last one for 3 or 4 years. When we did regression in hypnotherapy, it would almost always go back to childhood. When I became a mother, actually, even when I was pregnant, I suddenly became very sensitive, as you were saying as well, to children, to their emotions, just picking up on sensitivities, just kind of observing how they were, and just really feeling this like deep sensitivity towards their innocence, and just how important it is in our role, whether we're parents or teachers or whatever role we might have in a child's life, to be able to nurture their potential so that they don't, and to be able to really see them for who they are, so that they don't have to go through years of therapy later on, you know, and as an adult trying to unpick this conditioning and these things that have happened in our childhood. So that's the perspective that I'm coming from now, is kind of taking my years of experience as a therapist and coach and really helping parents, as well as helping parents undo their patterning, helping them to really see their child as they are, and to also know that there's nothing wrong with their child. There's nothing to be fixed. There's just perhaps a different viewpoint, a different way of seeing something, and to see the uniqueness of your child, who might be completely different from you, can be such a beautiful thing. And that's why I love human design, because, you know, as you said as well, it's really this way, because you kind of get this visual map of a body graph. It really gives you this way of seeing aspects of a person, and kind of a lot of people are visual. So seeing that there can really, I find, really help people kind of go, oh, like now I get it, rather than just hearing something. They really kind of see that visual representation of what their child looks like, where their child's energy is. And that I find is so empowering for parents and teachers.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying also, like they come with their innocence and they come just as they are, but there's still something to assist them with. Because that's also what I feel, they have a true nature. I talk a lot to the parents I work with about, this is your child, this I feel is your child's true nature. And that can actually be different from what they experienced quite early on in their life. Because just as all of us, we have gone through this, a lot of conditioning. We might be born into a family that has strong belief systems. It now might not even be outspoken, it might just be present in the body, and just the process of just seeing who they truly are. And also it helps us to see who we truly are. So I really love that. And as you say, the like the visual, the graph just really helps to put it clear. And also with any child, I think you said that to me also before, like we can't be there for everyone. So it's amazing that we have so many different tools to help, so everyone can go in and look at that child's chart. It might not be straightforward, and that is also why we're doing this on Monday. So we have you to help. I already had some questions from the people who will be joining, like how can I look at this? Like wait. On Monday we will be looking at this, and it is super exciting. And that's why I invited you in the first place. It was because I'm super thrilled about this modality. So how have you come to work with this in your own life as a mother with your own son?
I think one of the most useful ways I find it can be used in parenting is to, regardless of where somebody is, a parent or even a teacher, an auntie, or an uncle, grandparent, in their own journey of self-discovery, regardless of where they are, it helps you see, you know, a visual map of your energy and then of your child. And we can then understand where there are some areas where, you know, we might sort of be taking energy in, and or our child might be, and we're putting it out. So we start to be able to understand the connection and the dynamic, the energetic dynamic that we have with our child or someone else have with our child. And, you know, this can kind of clear up confusions when, for example, a child might behave differently with one parent than another, or why siblings might have some friction or some tension. And, you know, I think particularly when parents are quite new parents, they kind of like, but that, you know, he doesn't do that with me. Why does he do that with you? And so we can start to see how our energy is very different, even though we might be using the same commands, we might be communicating in the same way. Our energy speaks before we do. And so it's not just a case of kind of what we say, it's about how our energy is with our child and how it interacts. So for me, I knew my son's chart as soon as he was born. Like I knew a couple of things that he was going to be because of the approximation of his due date and some planetary transits that were going to happen. So I was already bracing myself for the fact that I was going to have quite an energetic child. I didn't realize how energetic. We'll go into this more on Monday, but when we're looking at types, I'm one of the 4 types that does need more rest than others. My child is one of the most energetic types. There's huge differences in the way that he and I are designed to learn. There's huge differences in kind of the amount of what we call definition that he has. So the amount of sort of fixed energy that he has, which, you know, I mean, he's just coming up for 2, but where I can definitely see the potential for possible power struggles if I wasn't aware of that, because he has dominant energy over me in many parts of his chart. And so for me, if I was in that traditional kind of mindset of I'm the parent, I'm the authority figure, that could really create problems for me. I can see him as kind of having this fixed energy in certain areas. And so then I can understand that that's sort of where he essentially is going to take control. And I can be okay with that and not try to fight it. So there are so many different aspects of parenting, you know, to assist us in our parenting that we can see when we understand all of these different parts. And you were saying about, you know, people asking, oh, well, where do I start? And I think one of the things with human design is when you look at it, there are so many aspects. There are several different systems that kind of go into the human sign system. So there's astrology, the Kabbalah, the I Ching, the chakra system. And so it can look very, very confusing at first. And it's taken me years to really kind of be able to understand it and synthesize it at a deep level. There are so many layers to it. And so what we're going to talk about really on Monday is some of the foundational pieces that I call, you know, the fundamental basics, where these are the most important things. And once you understand those, and you understand those not just on a mental level, but you understand those on a practical, applicable, how you can use this in your day-to-day life level, those things can be life-changing. There are the possibilities to then go into deep layers of the chart if that's necessary, but even just these kind of couple of basic things, these fundamental things, if we can understand that in terms of like the kinds of questions that we ask our child and, you know, how their energy is versus how our energy is, just those things alone can hugely change our connection with our child.
Oh, I love that. Oh gosh, I got chills when you were talking. I'm so excited. And I feel that's actually what people need to know before Monday, because this is like really opening up the excitement and the curiosity. Everyone wants to come and know more. Everyone I've reached out to so far have been fully on board and want to come and learn more. And I want to say just a few things practical. You don't have to be a parent in order to come and listen and learn a lot. You can be a child yourself, an adult child who is not, yeah. Who is not that. That's all of us, because it teaches us about dynamics and the energy. And I mean, if you're working with children, this is really amazing, an amazing tool as well. Second thing, when you register, you get a bit information about how to obtain your chart, and also how you can just go a bit deeper with it before we meet if you want to. But there is just an outline for how you can just go into the website and create your own chart and your own child's chart if you're having a child. And then that is basically it. There's just a few things that you can do before Monday that will help you to get a bit more out of it Monday, but you can also just come and listen and just enjoy the conversation. Yeah, I'm super excited. Sophie, is there anything more you want to say before we wrap up?
Just really on Monday, I'm open to answering any questions that people have as well. I will remind myself not to get carried away and go too in depth with things. I get very excited when I'm looking at things. Every time I receive someone's chart, I'm like, oh, there's this and there's this and there's this. So I will remind myself to keep it at an introductory level, but I will obviously open up for any questions that people have. And even, you know, subsequently after the call, if somebody feels like they would like to know more, they would be very welcome to contact me and ask me questions.
Yeah, so there will be ways to go deeper with you afterwards, if that really calls on someone, and I'm sure it will, because I'm excited, so. Okay, so let's just say to everyone, we will be seeing you on Monday, and I will leave the link to register here below. And did we say it is free? It's free to join. And even if you can't be there live, please just register, because we will send the replay out to that list of people who have registered. So you can listen to it in that way as well. Okay, so I guess that's all.
Yeah.
We'll see you
Thank
all
you so
on
much.
Monday. Yeah.
See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.